Hello everyone, this is Robert Mansour and I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about the dangers of joint ownership. Joint ownership and joint tenancy is a very common way for people to hold assets in this country. Husbands and wives do it all the time, brothers and sisters, mothers and sons, mothers and daughters, etc. And joint ownership, while it does indeed have its place, you really need to know what you're doing and some of the downsides of joint ownership. So let's discuss them very quickly. The first thing you should know is that the last man standing gets the entire asset. So let's say my brother and I own a piece of real estate together. If I die, my brother gets the entire piece of real estate. That may not be what I had in mind. So keep that in mind. Last person standing, man or woman, gets the entire asset. Loss of control is the next issue. Basically, if I do pass away and my brother gets the entire asset, I have absolutely no say in what he does with that particular asset. Same thing if a husband and wife own the property together. And let's say the wife passes away. She has no say in what the husband ends up doing with that particular real estate or that particular bank account. Some people use joint ownership as a way to avoid the probate process. They figure if somebody else owns the property with them, that the court probate process will not come into play. And while that is true, you're simply postponing the inevitable. At some point, one person will be on that property or that asset, and the court will most likely get involved. One of the biggest dangers I see is the extra bullseye on the assets. So if you add somebody to title with you on your real estate or your bank accounts or your investments, you have added an extra bullseye to that asset. So if that person gets into any trouble whatsoever, a divorce, a bankruptcy, a lawsuit, creditor trouble, etc., you have now subjected your asset to their problems. Not a very good idea. It's also difficult sometimes to remove a co-owner from property. So let's say you add somebody to your property as a co-owner. In most cases, you can't just go and remove that individual from the title. They have to go do it themselves, and they may not want to. If the person that you own property with becomes incompetent or incapacitated, the court might get involved in that person's affairs, in which case you are now effectively owning property with an incapacitated individual and the court is owning it with you. There is also something called the cost basis problem, which means that if somebody puts you on title with them, you have, in most cases, inherited their cost basis for that asset. All that really means is that you might end up paying more in taxes in the future than you otherwise would if you simply had inherited the property. In many cases, inheriting the property is so much better than being put on title. Most spouses just leave everything to the other spouse. They just pass away and say, here you go, here's everything. In some estates, those large enough, it might lead to unnecessary estate taxes that could have been avoided. Talk to your CPA about that. That is a significant issue. And let's not forget your husband's new wife. Ladies, if you pass away, your husband might get remarried. If you don't believe me, let's meet Elaine. Elaine is your husband's new wife. And I'm being a little bit facetious here, but let's face it, people do meet new people in life and they sometimes get remarried to a new wife, or in some cases, this is Marty. He is your wife's new husband, gentlemen. So these new people that come into the picture later on can really screw things up for everybody. And here's how it typically works. Let's take a look at this slide here. At the very top of the screen you will see Ann and Tom. They're a lovely couple and they own everything jointly. But let's say Tom were to pass away. If Tom passes away and Ann meets our lovely gentleman Marty, and then Ann dies, well, guess who gets everything? Marty, the new guy. And Marty might choose to give everything to his family, in which case the three children that you see in this photograph will get zero. And this is called unintentional disinheritance. It is one of the biggest consequences of joint ownership, and nastiest consequences actually, where your family is unintentionally disinherited because of the way that you own property. If you want to discuss joint ownership of property, or other alternatives, feel free to call my office. Once again, my name is Robert Mansour, and my phone number is 661-414-7100. That's 661-414-7100. Or on the web at www.mansourlaw.com. Thank you.